My name is Doug Prude, and gosh, I'm not an artist. In fact, what I do involves very, very precise coordinates. Cartesian coordinates, 6 decimal spaces in approximation. So it's very, very precise. So I don't have anything very artistic or to talk about. However, the topic is what I've learned. I'm not going to bore you about map systems. I will tell you a little backstory about me though. When I got out of college, I majored in business. My first job was selling beer, and it wasn't very hard. It was, yeah, exactly. You know, do you want a beer? Would you like another one? I have a truck full. Exactly. I can get you as much as you like. Woo! And so that was pretty easy. The job, it was very long hours. It wasn't all bikini girls and race cars. It was moving a lot of heavy boxes, and it was usually from 6:30 in the morning till about 7 at night. And I was terrible at working those hours, and I was within 3 or 4 years I was fired. So because I just was not a very good employee. After that, I was still in sales. I was a stockbroker for a while, and it wasn't the Gordon Gekko lifestyle. It was calling people on the phone and asking them for their business. I had a script that I had to recite, and to try to woo people into my office, where I would eventually try to woo them into giving me their money, and that didn't work out very well. Plus, I hated it. Then I stayed in sales, but I worked for UPS, and I was selling freight services, freight and transportation services, and that was the first place that really took it seriously. And that's where I learned my lesson. And my lesson was to listen. That's the best tool you can have, is to ask a question and then shut up. Introduce yourself and shut up. People really like to talk, and they like to be, and more importantly, they like to be listened to. So I was pretty good at that once I learned that stuff, and that was great. I was out. I moved out to East Texas. I was working out there. I was doing really well, but I didn't feel right. I wasn't fulfilled. I was pretty bored, and I don't know. It kind of lost its challenge, and I left there. I wanted to go to graduate school, so I moved back into Dallas, moved back home, and I was going to go for business, but then I thought I'll just get a higher paying sales job, and I just don't want that. And I talked to a city council person who I'd spoken to several times before, and she said, "Have you ever thought about city planning?" And I didn't even know what it was at the time. I didn't know there was such a thing as city planner. I thought engineers or architects took care of all that. It's absolutely not the truth. So I went to graduate school for city planning, and we learned all kinds of things. Mapping's one of them. The planning law, how to make topographic maps, and basically the history of planning, the ins and outs of it, and how buildings and space, and of course infrastructure affect our lives, affect people, and how they affect things like crime rate and things like birth rate, even, believe it or not. And that was fascinating. But it wasn't until our class project, we got very lucky. A group of 7 of us actually got to write a city plan that was adopted by a little town called Bruceville, and I mean little, 1,700 people. That's it. It's just south of Waco. In fact, it was 2 towns that were so small they had to combine the 2 to get 1,700 people. But we went in, and the way we did it was we had 3 meetings, and we invited all the townspeople. And even in a city the size of Dallas, you're lucky to get 400 or 500 people at a meeting. A town the size of Bruceville, we had 60, and that was a huge turnout. And what I told the group, because I was the oldest in the group of people doing it, and I was the only one with any kind of work experience, I said, guys, we're going to present, and then it's our turn to listen. We just need to shut up and listen and let these people tell us what they want, because ultimately it's not our town we're building. We may think that bike lanes are great, we may think that 7-foot wide sidewalks are great, but we don't have to live here for the next 20, 50, 60, 70 years. We're not trying to raise a family here. That's their job. And what we found out is not only do people like to tell us what they like about their town or what they hate about their town, and they like to draw out the future of their town. And they use many tools to do it. Some people like to sit down and sketch it out. Other people like to write it down. Our best tool was we just lay out a map, and folks were drawing it. And I had no idea where the meeting place was. We didn't realize that these folks like to meet not in the center of their town, but kind of away from the high school, because I don't know, where the kids wouldn't bother them or something like that. They needed a town meeting place, and that's honestly something we wouldn't have thought of. They needed to be able to walk there. And this is a town that's pretty spread out, so that was a challenge. But once again, we wouldn't have known that had we not shut up and listened. Second and third meeting went really well, but we got a lot of good response because we listened. Finally, after that, I went to work for a private developer. I still do. And the best part of my job is listening, finding out what these people want. And with that, I can also tell them what's out there, what's available. Folks might say, well, I want to be able to get around my town. We should put in a sidewalk. My next question is, well, how wide do you think that sidewalk needs to be? Well, I don't know, standard sidewalk. Well, standard sidewalk, if y'all don't know, is 4 feet. It's very difficult for 2 people to pass in the night, which is 4 feet in width. So if we go 7 feet, you can walk with your wife in a baby stroller and someone will still be able to get around you. It's little stuff like that, and telling people and letting them discuss it, quieting down for a while, and letting them talk themselves into it, that really makes my job great. So the next time you're trying to talk to somebody, no matter how passionate you are, shut up and listen, and listen to how passionate they are about the topic. And that's all I've got. Thanks.